So in the next 4 months, the Supreme Court is going to resolve a huge number of huge cases. The decisions are going to, A, influence the election, and B, have an enormous effect on life, law, and culture in America. That's just what Supreme Court decisions do. And they are backlogged with cases that they will be hard-pressed to get through. They have massive, free speech online, the power of the feds, and the power of federal government agencies. You know, we've talked a lot about that here. Like, for example, completely undercutting the EPA's ability to regulate toxins in water, air, and soil. This is going to appear before the Supreme Court. And as you know, I think they have an agenda to do just that, to undercut the EPA's power. But they are crunched for time. They're far behind. So they've announced just 5 decisions. 92% of argued cases still have to be formally resolved before the term ends in late June or early July. Many legal experts are looking in, they're going, it's impossible. They are dealing with landmark decisions, unprecedented situations, a major presidential candidate facing criminal prosecution who has this entire problem with immunity that has to be ruled upon. That's probably the highest profile, even though it maybe shouldn't be. As I say, I think the undercutting of the feds and their ability to regulate, both for the consumer and for the environment, is huge.
Will you be surprised if the Supreme Court comes down on Trump's side regarding presidential immunity?
Yeah, I think that they'll rule against presidential immunity. I do. But again, that's based on what I've read. It's based on listening to legal experts. It's based on David Katz. It's based on David K. Johnston. We can review, though, that prediction with David K. Johnston tomorrow.
Yeah.
But Steve Vladeck, who's the University of Texas law professor, he tracks a lot of stuff with the justices at the Supreme Court. He said in his weekly newsletter that the Supreme Court, this is a quote, is being pulled in more directions than it's capable of being pulled in. It is in the middle of just about every significant contemporary public policy, political, and cultural debate. This is not a play, he says, for sympathy on the justices' part, but a genuine concern that the court is not well situated to handle this onslaught of high-stakes, politically charged cases. Some of this buildup is self-inflicted. A lot of people say major issues from past terms like abortion, gun rights are coming again due for this term. And this code of conduct thing over the Clarence Thomas deal and the taking of money and lavish trips and gifts that justices have gotten from billionaire friends who have business before the court, the demands for recusal, but there is no recusal at the Supreme Court level. These are things that also divert the court's attention, it's suggested. So when you have immigration questions and all of these other questions that we've touched upon, it's being talked about as an almost impossible Supreme Court docket to wade through it all. So watch this, because you're going to, and in days to come with David Katz, David K. Johnston, and beyond, I'll review some of the other cases that we don't hear about because they're getting bumped out of the headlines by some of the others that I mentioned. But we'll have to see. Again, I'll remind you, since the workload is so overwhelming, then they should definitely add more justices to do the work, right? Shadow producer Calvin Wong is right. I'd love to see the court expanded. And, last thing, and then I'll get to Karen. The Democrats, they just don't take the advantage when it's offered to them. They don't act aggressively enough. And they're dealing with an incredibly aggressive GOP that is ready to undermine everything. SCOTUS is so scary right now, says Vicky, is right. But I'll remind you, Thomas is openly corrupt, says BBB. Exactly right. Of course, it's insane. Look, when you won't recuse yourself from a case that involves your own wife, his own wife was involved in J6. actively. And he won't recuse himself. Look, as you know, I think the problems with the court, corrupt, informed by insane religiosity that's even, worked its way into decisions. It's a scary time. It's a scary time. And since Congress can't get anything done, you really have legislation from the bench, right? Anyway, that's a little bit of the practical realities of both the political environment and also the legal realities that analysts are saying, hey, this is trouble. There's a lot here, and it's going to be tough to get through it all. And they're moving at a pretty good clip, and it still will be tough to get through it all. Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.